That's cool. I mean, I think it's definitely one of the more unique backgrounds that you're going to find in the bourbon industry. I don't think anybody else is going to have that sort of level of history.
Yeah, well, the history of the both of them go together, ironically, is the funny thing about how I even got into it. I mean, it was a tour sponsorship. That's how I literally got into drinking better bourbons, learning more about bourbon and those kind of things was through Booker. We were sponsored by Jim Beam for about 19 years. That was our sponsor. The buses, the trucks, all of it had Jim. We had huge Jim Beam inflatable bottles on each side of the stage that would blow up. Everything. Troy had guitars. Barrels were on stage with us. It was a long-standing partnership, which turned into family. You know, I'd never tasted Booker's before until Booker. He was actually the guy I tasted it with.
Yeah, just the whiskey with the cigarette hanging out. Just you kind of upgraded your lifestyle.
I started to realize, hey, wait, there's some really good stuff out there that I didn't know anything about. So that, with them being a tour sponsor for so many years and just becoming family with those people, like Fred to this day is one of the best people. He's like a brother to me, man. And I saw Freddie growing up. My wife said that Freddie and I grew up together, even though I'm like 30 years older than him.
You're on your own bourbon journey at the same time. Trying to say,
a different kind, yeah. So they sponsored us for a lot of years, and that's how the parallels came in right there. I was like, if I wanted to ask a question, so what are you doing here, Fred? What's the deal with this? He'd answer those for me.
Can you remember some of those early conversations with him, kind of like pick his brain and try to figure out what's going on here? Why do I like this so much?
Not really. I don't. Well, a lot of those were at the point we were drinking Knob Creek or Jim Beam when we had those conversations. But he was always there. He's still there for me this day. If, like, I don't understand this, and if I text him, he'll, oh well, this is what's happening here. Freddie will do that. Freddie's answered questions for me too.
And they would be on the road with you all too sometimes, or
they would come out to shows.
Cities?
Yeah, mm-hmm. They'd come out to shows. Booker would come out occasionally, but I never got the opportunity to become as close with Booker as I was with Freddie, because he was only with us for like 2 years after we started working with him. But he would come out sometimes too. He was a piece of work.
Yeah, well, I know they love their rock shows and stuff like that. I know they had a history of Kid Rock and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So they definitely have some sort of way that they gravitate towards folks like you and try to make a party out of any situation.
Yeah, it was, and it was awesome. Obviously, we had some product that came along with that deal too, so that was a great thing as well.
I mean, is that kind of how you feel like your bourbon journey kind of really started, where you started finding little nuances in whiskey, it's not always just for the effect? I
do, because that was like some of those questions, like Fred was the guy that taught me about the Kentucky Chew and that kind of thing. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
He was one that taught me that, and that's when hey, wait, yeah, you can taste other stuff in this, so that kind of started it. I still feel like I don't have a very strong palate for finding some of that stuff, but I'm kind of like Eddie said. I made a joke about Jimmy one day. He said he tastes hot, cold, sweet, and sour. That's me. Hey, I can taste like a master distiller now.
Yeah.
So it's growing. It's getting better. I just still have to dial it in even more. I just enjoy the bourbon, though. I don't even know if it's particular things I'm picking out. I'm probably one of the worst to ask that. What'd you think? I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's good, middle of the road, or we'll just put it in the barrel and age a little bit longer.
That's really good. But yeah, that is where it all got started, though, was hanging out with those guys.